Welcome to day 1 of your 40-day journey onto the Goodbye Gut 2.0 version. If you've gone through the 8-week course, this is going to be a refresher for you. If you've never gone through the 8-week course, then this is going to be your jumpstart. So the first thing we're going to do is data collection. If you can measure it, you can manage it. So the first thing you're going to get is a link to this form, which you can fill out online. And the reason you're going to fill it out online is because it will document what you put in, will create an electronic file for you, and you can even receive it in an email so you can print out a paper copy. And I do recommend that you have a file created, whether that be a paper copy file or if that's a digital file. But you need to put this somewhere because this is what we're going to compare to on your journey so that we can prove your success. First thing, name, of course. If you're doing this on the computer, when it comes to the date, you just click on here and it'll open up the calendar for you to make it easy to pick the date. The next one is weight in pounds. You'll see that there's a red asterisk here. That means that this question is required in order to complete the form. Now, if you start filling out this form, but then you have to stop and go get something done, don't worry. You can go ahead and click out of the form and it will save your answers so far. So you just click back in and you can take off where you left off. The next thing is height in inches. Now, we all know that after the age of 50, we tend to shrink. So please be sure not assume you know how tall you are. Measure it, because it will make a difference. And also, please remember to convert it into inches. It will make it easier for you for tomorrow. Next one is the neck measurement. And this is going to be taken below your Adam's apple. Now, I recommend if you're going to go out and buy a tape measure, make sure you have inches on one side and millimeters on the other, because it will make a difference in the future when we start measuring millimeters of change. Next one is the waist measurement at the belly button, okay? This is not measuring your waist based on your pant size. Stand up straight up against the wall, take a deep breath in, and then a deep breath out. That's when you measure your waist at the belly button. We don't need to measure any air that's in there. Next is going to be going pee, and take a look at what your urine looks like and just grade it from A to F. I want you to wait 30 seconds after you pee to then do part 2 of the urine test. Do you see any bubbles on the surface of the urine after 30 seconds or more? Yes or no? Next, we're going to judge how many of the bubbles are there. After 30 seconds, if you see this amount, you're extreme. If you see this amount, it's moderate. If you see this amount, it's mild. So choose which one best describes the bubbles that you see. Now, the next time you poop, I want you to choose what type based on this chart. Number 1 is going to look like, if you know what rabbit poop looks like, it's going to be what I call the milk dud version. Number 2 is going to be what I call the baby Ruth version. Now, this one has a black eye and some band-aids on his cheek. And the reason is because this poop can be hard to come out, which means it can cause a little damage maybe if you have some hemorrhoids. This poop here is going to be softer, but still a little on the lumpy side, and this is the nice smooth one with the curl at the end. When you get over here on this side, this is the more mushy or wet poop. This is going to require you to wipe a lot more afterwards. So this poop here would be soft and mushy, but in parts. Whereas this poop would be more like a cow pie. Type number 7, we all know what diarrhea is, just completely fluid. Now, this is the important question here. How long did you have to wait to poop? Did it take less than 24 hours for you to poop? 1 day, all the way to 7? Or was it more than 7? Again, I want to remind you, you can go ahead and leave this empty for now and move on to filling out the rest. If you have to wait to poop a few days and come back, this document will save your answers. Part 1 of the blood pressure test. This is for people who already have a cuff. But I do want to remind you, if you've been diagnosed with high blood pressure, your physician should have prescribed you a free blood pressure cuff. And when I say free, I mean that your insurance will cover to have a cuff prescribed. If you don't have a blood pressure cuff and you want to go out and get one, here's the one that I would recommend for you, which is the one most cardiologists use, and you can get it at most local drugstores. Now, when you do the blood pressure test, I want you to note how this man has his arm facing with the palm up and putting this cord right there in the center of the arm area. Now, part 2 is very important to do at the same time after you do your arm. You're going to do your ankle. You're going to put the cuff, just like this picture suggests, on the inside of your ankles. Cord should be on the inner side of your leg that you're using. And it's important that you take these readings from your arm and your ankle from the same side of your body. So that way you can write your answer, whether you used your right or left side here. Now, if you have a blood sugar monitor, this is for those of you that have been diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic, or maybe you're a type 1 diabetic. If you've been diagnosed, just like the blood pressure cuff should have been prescribed, you should have also been prescribed a blood sugar monitor. If you have one, great. If you don't have one, you can skip this, or if you choose to go get one yourself, this is the one I would recommend. You can order it online. So for those of you who have a blood sugar monitor, what I want you to do is measure your blood sugar right before your very first meal of the day, or right before your very first beverage of the day, unless it's water. Water does not count. So next, you're going to watch a very short video that's about 3 or 4 minutes long that's going to show you how to do the next test, which is called the sit to rise test. It's going to also explain how to score the test. And I have a reminder here on how to score the test. I want you to also be aware that if you have a bad knee or you have a bad hip, I still want you to do the sit to rise test, but you can do it to a sturdy chair rather than to the floor. But you do have to take an extra point off for using a chair. But either way, you do have to do the sit to rise test, whether it's to the floor or to a chair. Then at the bottom, you hit submit, and this form will end up going to your email completed so that you can download it onto your computer and save it into an electronic file, or you can print it out and put it in a paper file. But either way, I recommend you create some sort of file, because you need to be the CEO of your own healthcare, and it's going to start with knowing where you are in your journey today. So tomorrow, I look forward to explaining to you what we're going to do with the information. So I'll catch you on the other side.